Oh, crap. Hold on. The heck? Hello, camera? One sec, yo. I don't know why my camera's not popping up here. There we are. Hello. Hi, everybody. Oh, man. Tough one, man. Tough one. I have to say, this is a really tough loss. This is one I thought the Bulls should have absolutely won. They played like they should have won this one. But, you know, this is unfortunately just one of those games where the ball just kind of bounces the other team's way. And I don't think there's anything that you could really point to that's like, oh, this was an egregious thing down the stretch that didn't happen, that the Bulls didn't execute well on. And, you just have to live with this one, unfortunately. I don't think this is like a math problem either of this game. I don't think this was one of those games where the Bulls overall offensively were terrible. There are, of course, a few things that we have to always look at with this Bulls team. I mean, 15 turnovers tonight is not great, but I mean, look, man, this is just one of those games, unfortunately. And I can live with this result, honestly, if this is our losses. I'm not going to be, like, upset and pounding my head against the wall because the Bulls look like a 90s basketball team. I actually thought this was, like, an overall pretty well-played game by the Bulls. I'll explain some of my little problems I'll have in a minute here, but I can't complain. Like, I truly... I can't complain too much. We go back to hero ball at the worst effing time. I disagree. I don't think there was much hero ball. I've not been this pissed off from a Bulls game in a while. Two things. I felt like the game was in a silver platter for us. Also, I can't stand seeing Grayson Allen kill us. I'll agree with that Grayson Allen killed us tonight. But yeah, like when somebody on the Bulls is gonna make him pay it and foul him hard. Look, Patrick, you have the mindset of a lot of Bulls fans, and I even kind of thought that way of like, I want Grayson Allen to get absolutely hammered on foul him hard, and send him to the floor when he drives to the basket once. But look, man, this is the modern day basketball. You're not gonna be here just looking to delete Grayson Allen. Okay, I think that putting any sort of player at risk of an injury, whether they were the reason why someone else got injured in the first place before, I'm not a person that wants to say that that's okay. I understand a lot of Bulls fans, they want to see Grayson Allen absolutely just get like slapped in the face on a foul, and I used to think that way, but man, I don't want people to get injured, including him. The last thing, like, let me look. One of my biggest like things that like it kind of made me realize, like, when Kevin Durant went to the Golden State Warriors, like, I hated his guts. Like, I could not stand him. I thought it was such a stupid move. And you know what? It paid off for him in the end. But when he tore his Achilles, I watched that live. And as much as I hated Kevin Durant when he was on the Warriors, and I could not stand him, and the fact that he was winning championships, going to the 73-9 team that he lost to in the conference semifinals the year prior, when he tore his Achilles in Toronto, man, I heard so many people cheer at Scotiabank. And obviously, I was actually watching the game with some of my friends at Buffalo Wild Wings, and there were people just going nuts. They were so happy that Kevin Durant tore his Achilles, and I just sat there. I was like, I didn't say a word, but that's, to me, is not something that I would ever be happy about. Like, he tore his Achilles. It's not a good thing. As much as I hated him, so for sure, Grayson Allen destroyed us, and I'll talk about that in a little bit here. But I mean, other than that, though, I don't really have much to really say about like overall execution. Like, I think one of the things that we as Bulls fans are gonna have to start looking into is how much that Billy Donovan is like, he's kind of willing to let guys like Grayson Allen beat you. Okay, I think a lot of people are like, they're always so upset when they see what Donovan kind of does with this Bulls team defensively. They're like, why are you letting this 3-point shooter get open and take so many looks? And The reason being is that Donovan is like, look, Kevin Durant's not going to beat us tonight, okay? And luckily for us, Bradley Beal is still kind of coming back from his injury, and he's not 100%, right? So it's KD, right, and the rest of the Suns. Turn on my light, sorry. And he is willing to let guys like Grayson Allen beat the Bulls tonight, even though it sounds like it's not the greatest idea. Like he was willing to let guys like Keita Bates-Diop, Eric Gordon, Josh Okogie. Like Eric Gordon took 8 threes tonight. He went 0 for 8, right? And that's what Donovan was willing to do tonight. And I don't blame him. Like I don't think that's a terrible defensive thing to do. Stacey King always says, like, you can't leave Grayson Allen. You can't leave Grayson Allen. Like if like, you don't rotate off Grayson Allen, but if you do that, right, then the defense is literally screwed because you need to get in your rotations, right? And so Grayson Allen was the person that stepped up to the plate tonight and hit the threes that the Phoenix Suns needed. Because if he only hit 7 threes tonight, then the Suns don't win this game. So he just stepped up tonight. He was one of the biggest players to come up and step up tonight when the Suns needed it most, and they got the win. So you know, you just have to honestly just tip your cap. And if you're pissed off at him, like I don't like Grayson Allen. I absolutely despise him. But you tip your cap. I think that's all you can really do at the end of the day. Sorry, hold on. Sorry, I want to make sure the camera's looking good. So yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is, honestly, at the end of the day. So yeah, that's what we gotta live with. In terms of the rest of the Bulls, okay, I mean, this was honestly like a pretty overall well-played game from almost everybody. I think Torrey Craig unfortunately was fouling too much, but you know, I don't have too much to say about him. I thought Levine and Vucevic, they were actually carrying the offense for a while until DeRozan kind of stepped up in that fourth quarter / OT. And unfortunately for Kobe White, I thought Kobe White was having like a really, really solid game overall. And I was like thinking to myself, like, man, another game from Kobe White at home where I'm just like, wow, he's playing so well. And I don't know why he can't play like this in the road, but that overtime was not great from him. And overall in the fourth quarter, it just seemed like he was a little bit rushed. He made some really good plays defensively, but it just seems like with Kobe, yet again, we're talking about consistency being an issue with him, and it can even vary just within the game with Kobe. And I think he needed to be out there in the last, in the last minutes of this game. And Donovan went with his usual closing lineup of White, Caruso, Levine, DeRozan, and Vucevic. But we saw Kobe's like kind of ups and downs, so not much to really say about that. Bulls obviously were down big to start this game. The Bulls were down by 18 to start this game. This was a terrible start to the game, and this is where I'm like, hey man, I can't be upset with how the Bulls they came out so badly, but then they were able to fight back in this one. And seeing that this Bulls team was able to actually turn it up defensively and start getting some pretty good offense overall, and then kept good defense throughout the rest of that half, I can't be upset with how the Bulls played that first half, considering what did happen to start the game. Which, again, we're not supposed to be like applauding bad starts, but this is, it happened, but they fought back. In terms of the fourth quarter defense, I thought that was fantastic. I thought Kevin Durant was being forced into some extremely tough scenarios, and he was having a rough time with the Bulls defense. And luckily for the Suns, others did step up and hit some shots, notably Grayson Allen. But then Yusuf Nurkic was really doing a good job down the stretch to help the Suns get enough points to stay within that game, because the start of the fourth quarter was bad for the Phoenix Suns when they had their bench in. And after that, I mean, like, I don't really know what else to say. It's not like, I think the one thing we could talk about is like we'll talk about the last shot by DeRozan, and then we're going to talk about what happened in the previous possession where we did see Vooch turn it over. So I guess if there's anything to like be talking about, it's that, where I thought the defensive execution or the offensive execution on his switch was bad. But other than that, I'm just like, hey man, this is just a rough loss. I think it's like one of the best losses that we've ever seen, or in terms of like overall gameplay from the losing team. You're just kind of like, wow, that sucks that you lost this game because you deserve to win this game, but in the end, it just didn't happen. So I'm just kind of sitting here like I'm not gonna be too complaining about this one. And I could be, honestly. I'm dropping frames, and I do see that, so I do apologize. Alright, I should have stabilized right now, so I do apologize about the drop frames if you did see that. Hopefully it doesn't keep doing that. I think that's the second time now since the start of the stream, so just let me know how it all looks. I mean, look. This is the part that I'm if we're gonna be like really starting to look into like the numbers and everything from this game, man. I don't know what else really the Bulls could have done. This is a good Phoenix Suns team even without Booker. Okay, Beal was back but not 100%, right? And they're still a pretty decent squad. Okay, but you kept this team to 42% shooting. All right, you forced 21 turnovers from them, which is really good. Like. That I don't know what else you could really ask for besides like obviously better shooting here or better defensive numbers from the 3-point line, but that was the game plan, right? The game plan was let those guys shoot it and see if they can beat us. Okay, and I honestly thought the Bulls, they did such a good job defensively tonight. I mean, if you just look at just the box score, just simply like Durant had 6 turnovers, and we saw not just Caruso forcing those turnovers, like we saw a lot of guys forcing those turnovers at the end, and it's because the Bulls defense at the end, everything was in the right rotations. Like we saw everything looked correct in terms of the rotations, and I don't have any issues with how the Bulls played defensively. I mean, remember last time like it was kind of like a close game like this, like we saw Levine have like 2 breakdowns on the defensive end, right? And this time there was nothing like that. Like, and I don't think DeRozan had any issues. I don't think Kobe had any issues, honestly. And even in overtime, I'm just like, I thought the defense looked good. I don't have any problems with how they defended this stuff. And you said basically these 2 guys beat us, and they did. Which, you know, a 26-point game from Grayson Allen is not going to happen from him every night. So it's something that it's just like, hey. You just gotta live with it. I don't think we're about there at the end. AC, Zach, Debo, Vooch, and Kobe. There's a solid 5 minutes there at the end where Phoenix didn't score. We had a chance to take commanding lead. So the little thing that popped up on NBC Sports Chicago, it said that Phoenix did not make a field goal, right, for like 6 minutes, right? But they were still scoring the ball. They were still getting fouls, and they were still getting to the free throw line. So yes, they weren't making buckets, but they were still scoring, right? And I do think that the Bulls had some chances, but at the end of the day, it's basketball. So I'm just kind of like, so if you missed a shot, that it's not like the Bulls, like in my opinion, down the stretch, like they really weren't like turning it over, except maybe the Levine drive, right? Which everyone says let Zach drive, and I'm always just like, no, don't drive, but I mean, I guess you can argue that part, but yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of sitting here like, well, it is what it is. It's just tough. The ball didn't go in. So again, I'm just not gonna be like, too upset about what we saw tonight. Box score I think is a little miscued, obviously, because the terrible start by the Bulls. Like, I don't think Vooch had a bad game. I don't think Levine had a bad game. I don't think Kobe had an overall bad game. And DeRozan, I think, actually was the worst of all of them, but he had a -3. Caruso, though, he's just so impactful that he has his game tonight, unfortunately. The Bulls just lose. It just sucks. Yeah, it's just a tough one to lose. And let's see, I want to I'm okay with driving or shooting mid-range for the win or tie, but let DeMar drive or shoot mid-range that can shoot the 3 for the win or tie. I mean, there's that part, right? And I think that's overall correct. But I've always just said my rule at the end of the game, right? At the end of a game, when it comes down to like these last second shots, or even like in the last minute or so of a game, it's like we saw Levine take that drive, and you know he lost the ball, but you could argue that there was a foul on that play, and he's never gonna get the call. Like, I don't care who it is. I mean, LeBron was even complaining the other day about him driving to the basket against Miami Heat, and he just wasn't getting calls at the end. And it's just that's my whole point. It's like you could be arguably the greatest player of all time, and you could drive to the basket at the end of a game, and you could get fouled, and you're just never gonna get the whistle. So I just think that, like, I've said it, that the Bulls in the first 3 quarters, they have to play more modern, right? But when it comes to then the last 5 minutes of a game, when it's crunch time, I've said, like, just go mid-range. I'm fine with the mid-range, because that's when the mid-range is most valuable, is during crunch time, when the game slows down, when the defense is like really just when the defense is really clogging the paint up, and they're basically saying, you're not scoring in the paint, you have to beat us from outside. That's where I think the mid-range is a really good decision. And, you know, that's where DeRozan makes a living, honestly. And I think Zach needs to start thinking about just pulling up for some mid-range shots instead of him taking it all the way to the cup at the end, because he's not going to get the foul call. He just never will. So I think that's something that he needs to maybe work on. But again, it's just one drive that we're talking about here, where it's like, okay, a lot of people are like, hey, good drive, but you lost the ball. You got to hold on to the ball. But I'm like, well, he could lose. He could get hacked. Everything. He's not gonna get the foul call in the end. So he's just gonna lose the ball anyway. So I just think that's just my rule when it comes to this sort of stuff. Yeah, sucks. Just sucks overall, man. This was absolutely the Caruso show tonight, and he came in and changed the tie when he came in and when he was the first sub, and Billy took out DeRozan for Caruso, and he came in and just turned everything around defensively for the Bulls, because the start defensively was just absolutely dreadful, and then he hit 3 threes basically back to back to get the Bulls back into offensively as well. And he was a major spark plug tonight, and it really sucks that we couldn't get the win, because he has this crazy game. I mean, he puts him 19 points, and obviously he was stellar defensively. We're talking about 5 stocks, steals, and blocks in 30 minutes, which is insane. And he's guarding Kevin Durant, and he's doing one hell of a job on Kevin Durant. I mean, I understand Durant still put up 25, but he only took 16 shots because the Bulls were forcing it out of his hands, and he had 6 turnovers. Like, that's great. Like, there's nothing else you can honestly ask for, because we know Kevin Durant, he just put up 40 the other night, right? Like, this is honestly just like, it just sucks, because I don't see anything like terribly like just show, or like terribly just out in the spotlight of like, oh, the Bulls lost here, like, or the Bulls did this wrong, and that's the reason why they lost the game. It's like, no, this is just that you play pretty well, and unfortunately the other team just made shots. Caruso for Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know if it's going to happen, but if he plays 65 games this season, then he absolutely should be in the conversation. The problem, like I said, I made this in my prediction video, that I think I don't think Caruso's going to hit the 65 games, which is the new rule now this year, that you have to play 65 games or more to be eligible for an award. So unfortunately, I just don't think Caruso's going to be up there in terms of games played. But if he does get there, then I do think that he'll be a candidate for sure. What was DeMar's field goal? DeRozan's field goal at the end of the game, where he took that mid-range shot. I mean, I didn't have an issue with it, but I saw so many Bulls fans on Twitter just so pissed off about it. And I'm just like, like that. I was fine with that. I think that's a smart play by DeRozan, but he just missed it. And I'll explain that in a little bit here. Like, stay tuned, because like I'm talking about Levine's drive with like a minute or so left. It's like maybe 55 seconds left in the game, where we saw or we saw Levine just take the ball and just flat out just drive hard to the rim, and then he lost that off his knee and went out of bounds, right? And like this is the part I'm saying. It's like, I get it, because that's Zach's go-to, right? His go-to move is going to the cup. And everyone says, no matter what, like if you listen to Stacey King, to Kendall Gill, to literally anybody, right? They always just say drive to the basket in these sort of situations. And they always talk about, like, if you drive hard, you force the defense to collapse, you can get the foul call or you're gonna finish, right? And it's like, okay, well, here's the problem. I've said this so many times. In the fourth quarter, if you're driving hard to the basket, the defense is, one, going to clog the paint, but number two, the officials don't blow the whistle, okay? They swallow their whistle when it comes to crunch time. They never will call a foul when it's like driving hard to the basket and you throw up a shot and you do get hacked. They're not gonna say anything most of the time. It happens, but it doesn't happen a lot, right? And so DeRozan taking that, mid-range field goal at the end, people were pissed off and even Stacey King said it. He's like, no, you gotta drive, man. You gotta drive to the basket in that sort of scenario. And I'm just like, I don't think so. Like, I think that was a fine shot by DeRozan, and I'm willing to live with that shot that he took, because the thing that so let's look at this, okay? So you guys can see this? Yeah, you guys can see this. So here's the play. Let me get this to 1080p for you guys. If it will load. That needs to stop drives and the two defenders to kick out to open man. I'm tired of this style of play. Hero ball, move the ball, make the defense work, and guess. I mean, look, so you're the second person I was over that has come into the chat saying that the Bulls played hero ball down the stretch. I don't think they did. Like, I straight up don't think they did. Like, I genuinely do not think the Bulls played hero ball tonight. Like, I don't. I mean, Levine had 8 assists, DeRozan had 7. I mean, that's more than what we usually see from them. And I actually thought that, like, they were both making really smart plays at the end of the game where it wasn't just straight up, okay, isolation, and I'm just gonna take the shot, right? Like, yeah, the last shot for sure, like, by DeRozan, that's a straight up isolation for sure. But like I said, like, I'm willing to lose on that. Like, I don't think that's a terrible play. And you don't have a lot of time. 7 seconds is not a lot of time. So I honestly thought Donovan made a pretty decent play out of this. But like, I thought Levine in crunch time, like, I think Levine only took 3 shots in the fourth quarter, and like, I thought he was making really good passes in the fourth, and we saw it like consistently. I don't think it was hero ball, honestly. I really don't. AC6 man of the year, I think he'll be up for it, but yet again, I'll say this: if I just keep saying, like, he has to play 65 games. I don't think he's gonna get there, unfortunately, because of how hard he plays and how much he hits the floor and how many hits he takes. I'm an AC hater, but this season I'm a big fan. What makes you an AC hater, Sandroko? That's the first time I heard that from you. Okay, let's talk about this, okay? Because I'm one more time, all right? I'm just gonna say this one more time. Here's what I cannot stand when people are talking about, like, drive to the rim, okay? Because they always say drive to the basket and the last second attempt, if you know, it's a 1 point and 2 point game, okay? Obviously the Bulls are at home, so if this was a 2 point game, they'll go for the tie, right? The unwritten rule in basketball is if you're on the road and you're down by 2, you always go for the win, okay? Because OT on the road sucks. So, like, you're not going to win. Most of the time, you're not going to win overtime on the road. It's usually a terrible experience. But if you're at home, you always go for the tie if you can. And obviously the Bulls here can go for the win. So let's watch this play, okay? So this right here, I honestly think this is fine. So what Billy did is that he put DeRozan here top of the key, okay? It's basically DeRozan's possession right now. This is it. This is flat out it. This is the game plan is DeMar DeRozan. This is your shot, okay? You had Levine start in the backcourt here so that Grayson Allen can't just immediately come double team over to DeMar DeRozan as he catches the ball. And so as the ball's thrown to DeRozan, you see Zach, he is just charging down the floor, and Grayson Allen has to go with them, okay? And Caruso obviously inbounded it. We see then Vooch and Kobe, right? You saw these guys, they were basically on the opposite sides. So then you see them as the ball's thrown in. they flip-flop. So this keeps then these two defenders out of the play completely. And this is then it basically opening up the floor for DeRozan, okay? I mean, look at this. This is straight up the entire floor for DeMar DeRozan, okay? This is it. And there is no one else within 10 feet of him besides Keita Bates-Diop, right? I mean, look at Grayson Allen, because he has to pay attention to Zach, right? Because Zach's obviously the second option, so you don't want Zach to get the ball. And look at Durant on Caruso. Like, KD is not even thinking about coming off of Caruso here to double, right? So what Billy Donovan has done with this play is that he has given DeRozan this entire space to operate. And he says, go to work, okay? And Stacey King said that he would have liked to see DeRozan just take the ball and just drive, okay? And I'm just like, no, I don't want him to drive, because if he actually does get fouled, then he's not going to go to the free throw line. The game's going to be over, and we left the game in the officials' hands, okay? I can live with a DeMar DeRozan missed shot from mid-range, because I know that I gave myself a good chance to win this game. But what I cannot live with is driving the ball to the basket, putting the game in the officials' hands, and you actually get fouled, and then the officials don't call anything because it's crunch time, and you lose the game because you did not give yourself a chance to actually make a shot, okay? You basically are just depending on the foul call, even if you try to make the shot in the first place, but you got hacked, you're not going to make it, but still, you're going to end up losing the game. So, to me, honestly, I don't have a problem with this, okay? He sets him up pretty nicely. He does a little step back here, okay, to get some operating room. Now, I'm going to talk about DeRozan not looking 100% this game, but I honestly think that this is a fine shot. He also takes his shot with 4 seconds left to go, so if the ball does hit rim, there is still time to get an offensive rebound, okay? And he takes a shot. We see Caruso and Kobe White crash hard, right? They crash hard here. And obviously, you know, Vooch and Levine, they can't crash hard because they have to take their defenders out of the situation here. So these two guys crash hard. Unfortunately, it just only grazes the rim and Caruso can't get to it. But let's say Caruso got this. I mean, he would have gotten this still with 1.7 seconds left to go. That's enough time, obviously, to either call another timeout or just throw the ball back up there for another shot attempt, right? Like, that to me is all fine. And unfortunately, DeRozan just missed a shot. Okay, and I am willing to lose on this than what, you know, we saw Zach LaVine do in the game against the Brooklyn Nets, where he was coming down with the head of steam. He drove, right, and he was clearly looking for the foul call, and he got fouled, in my opinion, but he flat missed a shot, nothing called, right? And, you know, can't do anything about that. You didn't put yourself in a situation to win. So I understand that people are going to be like, I'm the weird one, and you can call me the weird one. I'm fine with that, and you can even disagree with me. But to me, this is a fine shot. I'm not upset at this. And we saw what the Phoenix Suns did with Kevin Durant at the end of regulation, right? I didn't have an issue with what the Phoenix Suns did at the end of regulation at all with KD. And I understand that, you know, KD and DeMar DeRozan, they're at different levels as players, for sure. So I get that argument maybe, but when it comes to it, I mean, it's basically the same idea, where it's just give the ball to your best player, right? You clear out, which they did. They did a really good job of just clearing out space for KD. It's 1-on-1 versus Alex Caruso, right? And you see here, Grayson Allen is being thrown this way. Bradley Beal is actually going to come up here and try to get the switch so that Kobe White's going to be on KD instead, right? So watch this. This is like, there's no play drawn on, but it's just basically give KD the ball and go. And you see Beal actually just slips the screen. So not the best of screens here by Beal. So Caruso gets to stay on Durant, and you just see Durant just do this, right? It's just mid-range shot, and you know, there's basically like 2 seconds left when he took it. He just missed it. Like, I'm not gonna be upset at that play either. And I feel like, as you know, if you're a Phoenix Suns fan, if you're looking at this, it's like, if you're telling me that Kevin Durant should have drove, then I think you're crazy. I'm gonna live with Kevin Durant missing a mid-range shot over Alex Caruso any day of the week. And I honestly thought the Bulls kind of messed up here, because I was like, okay, there's one person that should not be taking the shot, and it's Kevin Durant, but they let him take the shot, and it worked out. but that's ideally I wouldn't like that. But if you're gonna force him into something like a shot like, you know, that's contested, then this was pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's pretty all right. So, you know, I think both teams just kind of like, they just shake hands like, all right, good job. But turnovers driving to the rim. I'm guessing you're talking about Zach here. So yeah, I mean, Levine, let's look at this if they haven't uploaded here. Yeah, Zach had a big turnover in the fourth here where he drove hard, right? And lost it out of bounds, right? And this is what everyone says Zach should do, okay? Because they think that him taking like the three or the mid-range shot is bad. Now, I personally, I'm not seeking a three here, but if the three like shows itself, then I'm taking it. Like if for some reason Grayson Allen in this sort of scenario, if Grayson Allen for some reason goes under this screen by Vucevic, okay, then Levine should just shoot the three. Like there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But so I always say 1000% if it's like a last second shot, like we're talking like you have 5 seconds to get a shot off, you drop a play, you 100% do not go to the rim. Now, Steph Curry proved me wrong the other day because he literally drove to the rim and won the game against the Thunder, which was a controversial game. But in the end, though, I'm still not doing that, okay? This is right here one of those situations with Zach where I'm like, okay, pick and roll top of the key, you get the step on Grayson Allen, right? So right now, you pretty much have a direct line drive to the rim. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but this is why I get nervous when Zach drives like this. It's because he got reached in here, which could have been a foul, and then Grayson Allen pokes the ball out here. And then you can even argue that Nurkic could have been called for a foul here, but I always get concerned with this, and I don't care who it is. Now DeRozan, then, you know, if you're gonna drive, this is the time to do it. But I personally wouldn't, but I'm not gonna be as upset about this, like compared to like a last second shot, right? But right here, I mean, yeah, Levine obviously has to keep control of the ball here, but at the same time, I do think that he was fouled, but whatever, okay. What was the other thing that the Bulls did here? So this was a turnover. Actually, I don't remember this. Oh, I mean, see, it's another drive. It's just, I don't get, this is, okay, you know what? Maybe this was actually worse than, this is actually worse than I thought for the Bulls at the end of the stretch here, because I did not know that this, I forgot this happened. Like, I remember seeing this, but everything's happened so fast. This is not a good play. And yet again, it's another drive where I'm just like, I don't think you should be driving here. Like, there's no reason to drive. And DeRozan tries to force it back out to Vooch, and then clearly there's not a lane there, and DeRozan's in a bad situation, right? Right here, and he tries to dump it off. Like, to me, this is where, like, everyone hates it, and I've had, obviously you had people like Yuze over, and even other people come into the chat and say like, well, we don't want to play hero ball, but this is the time for hero ball, in my opinion. Like, I'm fine if this is when hero ball comes out from this Bulls team, because DeRozan in the isolation is like one of the best in the game, not so far this season, but we know he has a track record of it, and Zach in isolation is also pretty good too. So you don't need to run this pick and roll, right? Like, you don't need to come up and set the screen for DeRozan to come alpha, because if you want DeRozan taking the shot, then you're basically putting two people on him right now, okay? And sure, he tries to dump it off to Vooch, but teams collapse the paint in the fourth quarter. They always will collapse the paint. Look at what happens here, okay? And you can argue bad spacing in a sense, but I don't think it's too bad of spacing. But just look, you just see everybody, no matter what, they will collapse the paint in the fourth quarter, okay? That's just human nature. They basically say in the fourth quarter, you're not scoring in the paint, okay? And so if that's the case, then you don't need to do this if you're DeRozan. You don't need to set the pick and roll. I honestly just say isolate, just ISO. And the other thing that I will say this, that I'm shocked that I haven't seen it yet in sort of like crunch time scenarios by the Bulls so far this season. Like, these used to be money plays by Billy Donovan, and we just haven't really seen it so far this year. But I honestly think that what the Bulls should be running a lot down the stretch is you give it to DeRozan, and if you're gonna run a screen and roll, you run it with Zach LaVine, okay? You have Zach come up here, set the screen, and then hopefully, ideally, right, you get the switch for Grayson Allen to come onto DeRozan, okay? And then you basically just put DeRozan over here and put Zach here, and you basically just say, all right, your two best players, okay, you have this entire side of the floor to operate, go to work, okay? And DeRozan has the mismatch on whoever is typically guarding Zach, right? And if they come over to, like, in this case, like I'm saying DeRozan could be here and working the mid-range, Zach's up here at the 3-point line. If the Zach's defender comes down to double, then Zach's wide open for a 3. If they basically just let DeRozan just go one-on-one, then DeRozan's already in his zone, right, in the money area from his mid-range, and he has a one-on-one advantage, right, and he can do whatever he wants, okay? So I honestly think that's something that Billy should be looking to do, but they haven't done it, so this is what we're getting, and I just don't get this. It just doesn't make any sense to me, what I saw on this play. So yeah. Zach would assist people making others hot. DeMar last shot was bad in my opinion, pure ISO, and he wasn't hot. He's older. That shot can be anyone, and making this DeMar team is a losing cause in my opinion. Run a play or ISO Zach. I mean, look, man. As much as I like Zach, I think that we've seen too many times that he's not made good decisions with the basketball when he's asked to make, crunch time decisions. Like, this is the part about Zach that I do have issues with him still. I think tonight he made very good decisions with the basketball, but he didn't have many opportunities, right? So I just think that when it comes down to it at the end of the day, we've seen DeRozan be the better option, and Zach still needs to work on this. Like, he still needs to figure out how he can set up and do one-on-one without turning the ball over and not just driving to the rim all the time, right? Because Zach can break down a dude at any point and get that quick first step and go right to the rim, right? And that's great. I mean, like, that's obviously a very important skill in the NBA and is something that is very necessary. But when it comes down to crunch time, when you're one of the dudes out there, right, like, you typically see the guys go to the mid-range shot and not go all the way to the rim, because that's a guaranteed, like, one-on-one advantage or one-on-one shot, instead of you trying to, like, make it through 3 guys and hopefully not getting fouled, right? So what Zach needs to start doing, in my opinion, is figuring out how he can, like, set those guys up for a good one-on-one shot. And honestly, the other thing that I wouldn't be too upset about is if they just let Zach kind of, like, post up like here. Like, if let's say if they're coming down the floor, like, hey, okay, DeRozan, he's tired or something and he doesn't want the ball this possession, then, like, basically run like a horn set, okay? Like, you just run like a simple horn set, and you just have Zach just be ISO'd here. He gets the ball at the elbow here, okay? And you don't even have to let him dribble, right? You give it to him there, and you just spread the floor. And if he gets a step on a dude, then he's going right to the basket. But if he doesn't have that, then he basically can just size up that dude and just shoot right over him. Okay, and I would be fine with that. And I think that's something that they should probably look into. But that's not something that they typically do. Like, even DeMar DeRozan, who has been known to be like a post-up player as a guard, he doesn't do that. Like, they always run the top of the key, pick and roll, and hopefully get the mismatch type stuff, which is, I mean, that's fine too, but Billy maybe has some other options that you can start thinking about where he doesn't have to do necessarily that. I mean, okay, so what's this? What is this play by Zach? Let's see here. And roll. Okay, I mean, this one's too egregious in my opinion. Like, this is clearly a foul. Zach got the step on Bradley Beal, but yet again, this is what I'm talking about. Like, Beal absolutely slapped him there, and then Grayson Allen hit him on the arm. Like, that's a foul. But yet again, I'm telling you, like, you're not gonna get the call in crunch time. And so yeah, Zach going to the basket, like, percentage-wise, that is the best shot. But I would not be upset if he just decided, okay, I'm not gonna drive to the rim anymore. I got this step on Bradley Beal on this possession, right? He gets a step and he just, like, pulls up here. Like, I would not be upset at that. Like, he got the step. It is what it is. And if he's gonna drive, right, then kick it out. Like, I mean, throw it out to Kobe, throw it out to Caruso. I understand that, like, this is percentage-wise the best shot. Him taking a layup is the best shot right here. But I mean, I'm just telling you, man, when it comes down to these crunch time scenarios, you're just not gonna get the call. So there's that. Now, I think besides those 2 plays from Zach, which I don't even think this is a bad play, he got fouled, and then this play I also think he got fouled, but you know, it is what it is. I actually thought Zach was doing a really good job. Like, there was or was it this one here? Like, this to me was really good by Zach. So still there's 2 minutes and 20 and change left here, okay? And you just see Zach goes down here and through pick and roll. Let's watch this again, right? Does a good job here. Pick and roll is patient, right? And if he throws this initial pass to Vooch, it could be stolen by Eric Gordon, okay? So Zach does a nice job of just being like, okay, I'm gonna take my time. Eric Gordon is now not committed anymore, and Vooch is now wide open for an easy little layup. Like, I think Zach did like a really good job in terms of everything else in crunch time, which we didn't say that, right, in that Brooklyn Nets game, right, where he had those 2 defensive miscues, and then obviously that missed layup, right, that everyone keeps talking about. They kept saying trying to draw the foul. I'm like, look, that's my whole problem. But other than that, I didn't have any issues with what Zach did. Besides these last 2 drives, which I just think that everyone says is the correct thing, but to me, I'm just like, this is not really the best idea. And then Kobe started off with this, but then like, let's watch this one. Like, this is another one of those where I was like, hey, this is good. So, oh, never mind. That's not it. Sorry. I thought Levine kicked out to Kobe there, but he didn't. What was this play then? Yeah, I mean, even here, I was like, okay, I think this is another good play by Zach, right? He gets the ball here, and you could argue he should have shot that, but like, you know, he decided not to. So he faked it with KD coming after him, which honestly is probably the best decision because it is Kevin Durant and he's 7 foot. And so he drives past KD, right? And he draws in this defender, and instead of going all the way to the basket, right, he throws it out to DeRozan, and DeRozan just misses a shot. Like, I'm fine with this. Like, this is good. And I don't have an issue with this at all. Yeah, this is what I'm saying though. Like, it genuinely felt like for this game that the Bulls did a lot of things correct, and they just lost. Like, I didn't have any issues with what they were doing really on the defensive. Like, defensively, I thought they were actually really, really good down the stretch. And they didn't commit any errors. But offensively, yeah, there were definitely a few, especially the last 3 possessions. So, Patrick, your initial quote was right, that they didn't score in the last 3 possessions that they had besides the DeRozan layup, which they should have scored obviously here, and here, right? But you know, I at the same time, it's also basketball. Like, things happen. And I don't think that the Bulls should have drove. Now, the one thing I am upset about is this, okay? This play right here did not make any sense to me. Okay? How many times have we talked about here when it comes to this sort of scenario where it's like, people want Vooch to get posted up, okay? Everyone talks about it. It's like, post up Vooch, okay? Well, 9, 8 seconds left in the shot clock, okay? He has plenty of time for this, but I'm going to continue to say this. This sort of post up for Vucevic makes no sense, okay? If you're going to tell me, like, okay, if you run a pick and roll, he gets a switch, and he's posting up to 2 down low, and he has a mismatch, great. Give it to him. That's fine. But when we're talking about this sort of thing, this makes no sense, okay? I don't understand why the Bulls did this, and this is a crucial possession, and he's trying to back his dude down here, and he loses the ball. Like, that to me is not necessarily on Vooch, which, yes, he should have had better ball control. Yes, he could have made a better decision than deciding to crab dribble against Yusuf Nurkic. And yes, he should have been more aware of the situation. But now there's 5 seconds left on the shot clock, so he has to kind of go quick here. But to me, this is just on everybody. Like, why is this the play that you are gonna do in this sort of moment, right? This makes no sense whatsoever to do this play at this moment. This is like the one gripe I had coming into this stream, that I thought the Bulls did bad in terms of like execution on the stretch. This play makes no sense. To me, like I said, I would just let DeRozan cook. Literally let DeRozan do whatever. And if he isn't open, then just let Zach isolate. Okay. I understand that you guys, like a lot of you guys, right, just don't want ISO basketball. Like, you don't want hero ball. And here's the thing. I think the Bulls, in terms of overall, like, hero ball stuff, besides maybe that Pistons game where Zach had to go off for 51, like, I don't think this team has really played any sort of hero ball, okay? I think that the offense has slowed down during moments of the game where the spacing's terrible and we're seeing guys not ready to shoot, and guys are just playing way too slow and they're not cutting hard. Yeah, I see that. But I don't think that we've really seen like this like one-on-one play, like what we saw last season, right? It was a lot of one-on-one play last season. And even then, I don't even think the Bulls like they did as much as other teams. I just don't think that the biggest problem with this team is still that they play too slow at moments on the offensive end, and that's the reason why their offense continues to look very, inconsistent, because there's moments where they're playing quick and they're out in transition, and even if they don't get in transition, they're in the second transition, right? But then there's also moments where it's just straight up walk it up, and the play develops way too slowly, and you're asking then for DeRozan or Levine to like basically do a whole one-on-one scenario, and or they run a pick and roll late and it doesn't work out, right? And then it's still try to figure something out at the last few seconds of a shot clock. Like, that's not necessarily on DeRozan, that's not on Levine, that's just terrible offense. Lost to Grayson Allen. I mean, yeah, I think that was the game plan tonight, Anand. Like, I genuinely think that the game plan tonight for the Bulls was, we're not going to let Kevin Durant beat us. We're going to let others beat us, and the others include Grayson Allen. And he did a good job. Tip your cap to him. Dan Vucic gave up booty just now. Not that I don't want to. I just think at certain times we should get other players involved to make the defense keep on guessing. I mean, what else would you want, though? Like I'm trying to understand like what you're really trying to look at here, because I mean we can like go ahead and let's just like go play by play here in crunch time, right? Like, in terms of crunch time stuff, I don't, let's just watch the overtime, for example. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with what the Bulls really did overtime, except for that Vooch possession, and that, again, that's not his fault, right? That possession makes no sense. And that's on everybody, and specifically it's on DeRozan and Kobe for letting that play happen. But let's watch this, right? So we have this play here where it's straight up just, it's Kobe pick and roll, right? He loses the ball. So this is not hero ball. This is just straight up, okay, bad possession by Kobe. He lost the ball. Okay, it is what it is. Phoenix, they then hit 2 free throws. Okay, let's watch this possession. Like, I genuinely do not think the Bulls play hero ball in crunch time and in overtime until the DeRozan shot. Like, genuinely. So here we go again. This is normal offense by the Bulls, right? And it's pick and roll here, and Kobe gets a shot. Like, that's 2 possessions now where Kobe is like a main part of the offense, right? You got for 3-point shooters or hit the cutter. I mean, but here's the problem with that again. So I understand what you're saying by cutting, but I've talked about it many times. Defenses, the main thing that they see, no matter what, is we're not letting anything happen in the paint. Like, you can cut, you can do whatever, but defenses, we're not going to give that up. Like, straight up, they're not going to give that up. Now, check out the 3-point shooters. Yeah, I think that's a fine idea, and I'm going to show you where like I think that they actually did this. Like, and even that right here is a kick out to Kobe White for a 3-point shot, and I think that's fine, right? I think the Bulls actually did a pretty decent job of this throughout this game. But I overall understand what you're saying. Still, though, I think that the Bulls play this pretty well. So, sorry, I need to back this up. Oh, no, okay, that's possession offense. Okay, so, rebound. All right, we're out on the break. Okay, and they try to throw it out to Levine. It's a bad pass, though. It's a little too out in front of him. He recovers it, okay? All right, we're back here. Simple, pick and roll, right? Put out to Vooch. He decides not to shoot that. He probably should have shot that, right? And now it's like straight up, okay, isolation. And this is still where the Bulls could stagnate. And he throws out to Zach. He doesn't take it. Throws it back out to DeRozan. Like, I think this is fine. Like, this is not like, full out, okay, we're taking a last second shot here. This is overall, all right, you got the mismatch with DeRozan, right? Who was being guarded by Nurkic. He drove, kicked out to Zach, who then drove again after he got the shooter out to him. That's an open DeRozan 3-point shot. Kick out the shooters, right? You just missed. Like, I'm not going to complain about that shot either. So here's a stat that Patrick was talking about, that like the Suns did not score a field goal in like 6 minutes. Now, that does not mean that the Suns did not score a point. Okay, we saw many times that the Phoenix Suns got to the free throw line and they were still putting up points down the stretch. But you know, things happen. Okay, next possession. So here, pick and roll again. Vooch takes the 3-point shot. Big shot. He makes the 3. Okay, still not hero ball, right? We're still not seeing hero ball from this team. Okay, I think this is the poke away by Caruso. This is a bad pass by Nurkic. I don't know what Nurkic is thinking here. Okay, and here we go. Okay, now this is something that I like. Okay, I just said this earlier, where I think that Donovan and these two guys need to start working this out. You see, Zach came over and set a screen. Okay, and we've had Keita Bates-Diop on DeRozan, right, for most of the game. Now you have DeRozan being guarded by Grayson Allen. Okay, and I think that this is just where the Bulls can just absolutely eat up guys on the offensive end. Okay, this is what I would like to see more down the stretch, because again, it gives you your two best players literally the entire side of the floor. Okay, let these two just go to work, because if Keita Bates-Diop goes over here, then Zach's open, right? If Grayson Allen, if they don't double team, right, then it's one-on-one. I'm just letting this cook, right? This is similar to just, you know, mouse in the house, just go to work, right? So this is, in my opinion, the first time we like really saw hero ball in a sense. Oh, sorry. Okay, and right here, he even still kicks out to Caruso. Okay, and this is a Kobe White. No, sorry, this is not Kobe White shot. This is a foul. Like, it still was even then a kick out, right? So still, we're doing what you said, Zayover. Okay.
The Volvo C40.
All right, let's watch this, because I think this is inbounded to Vooch. Okay, so here we go. It's simple pick and roll set here. He throws it over to Caruso, who then this is literally not even Levine and DeRozan. This is straight up a Caruso Vooch pick and roll, right? And Caruso hits the 3-point shot. He banks it in, banks open at this late at night. Like, so 2.5 minutes now, we've saw like one possession of like straight hero ball, right? And even then, he kicked it out. So I honestly think that the Bulls throughout crunch time, throughout OT, throughout the last minutes of the fourth quarter, just like, hey, I don't think it was straight hero ball besides really that DeRozan last shot, and others contributed. There were others coming in here to help get this win. Obviously, Vooch hit that big 3, and then Caruso just hit this big 3, right? Like, this is what we're looking at here, and I don't think it was what we kind of really saw last season, where it was a little too much of slow tempo, let DeRozan take a shot with like 5 seconds left on the shot clock type scenarios, right? And I honestly just think that's the Bulls have done a better job overall in terms of that this season. The Bulls had 30 assists this game, so if you're gonna argue that like this was a game of hero ball, right? And like throughout the game, I don't know what really to tell you, because I think the numbers really speak for themselves. I mean, 30 assists is a number that the Bulls typically don't get, and I think that this is like straight up a really good like overall team game what we saw tonight. And it's just unfortunate the Bulls just didn't win this one. Yeah, I'm not really here to complain about this too much, unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, if the Bulls play like this every single night, where they look really engaged defensively, they shut down, or not fully shut down, but they really make like life tough for the opposing team's best player, right? Like Kevin Durant, right? I can live with this. And if the Bulls happen to just lose the game, so be it. Like, I did not expect this Bulls team to really be playing this sort of level against a team like the Phoenix Suns. And yes, they don't have Booker, and yes, Beal is still not the greatest, but he's not in full game shape. But this is still a pretty solid team. This is still Kevin Durant. And it just sucks. You just didn't win this one. So, yeah. I don't have too much to complain about it, honestly, but I'm willing to hear the criticisms. And I understand that some people have already mentioned their criticisms of this one. I want to see if there's any post-game quotes here. Let's listen to Billy.
I get like the last 7 seconds. You know, DeMar there was no trap, you know, and he got to his spot and, you know, he got the shot. You know, I would assume that he wanted to try to get off. I think when the double team comes, you got to get off it. I think sometimes shooting at a double teams or the way teams are guarding now, what they're doing to try to disrupt that, you got to almost make the extra pass and try to find a guy. But there was no trap for DeMar. He had open room and space to make a play.
I mean, like, I have had issues with Billy Donovan in terms of his offense, right? But this is something I fully agree with him. Like, I said, like, the play I thought was good by Billy. I thought the execution overall was pretty solid. And even DeRozan himself, like, if people are going to criticize the shot, he got a shot off with 4 seconds left to go. There was still time for the Bulls to get the offensive rebound if he missed it, okay? That's all you want, right? That's like literally everything that you want in this sort of scenario. You didn't get double teamed. He got a shot off in his spot. There's still time left if he happens to miss it, okay? It just didn't go the Bulls' way. Like, I can live with this sort of thing at the end of a game, okay? Now, I think it's going to be funny because people are already criticizing the absolute hell out of DeRozan for this, and I just don't get it personally because, like, this is something that we've seen DeRozan do many, many times in with the Bulls, okay? I mean, forget the threes that he made against Indiana and Washington, okay? But he had that game winner against the New York Knicks in Madison Square Garden where it was basically him just doing a mid-range shot at the end of a game. It was that time, though, it was a Levine and DeRozan pick and roll, right? And they got the switch and everything, and DeRozan was able to size him up, which I still think that would have probably been maybe a better call by Billy at the end of the game. But to me, again, though, like, it's a similar shot, right? It's a mid-range shot by one of the best mid-range shooters in the game, who is also one of the best clutch scorers in the game, and here we are. Like, he just happened to miss it, and I'm not going to be here complaining too much about it because, like, let's say this, like, let's say DeRozan, like, turned it over one, right? Obviously, that's a problem. Let's say you got a shot blocked, okay? Then yeah, I'd be here saying that you got to get a better shot than that for sure. But this wasn't like one of those scenarios where it was like it looked really forced. This was DeRozan just straight up doing his thing, and he got the space. He got a good look at it, and it just missed. And I'm willing to live with it. Now, I understand. I think it was you, Sandroko, that was talking about how DeRozan was like, oh, sorry, music's extremely loud. I do apologize for that. Sorry. Now, I understand that it's like, okay, maybe for DeRozan, like, maybe he shouldn't get the shot here because he's having like a pretty off night shooting, but he made 2 pretty clutch buckets already, right, in the fourth quarter itself. He made that layup at the end, and he hit another bank in like little float shot. So he was coming alive here in the fourth, but I'm not like, even then, so like, even if he's having like an off night shooting, then I'm still running with him at the end of the game. Like, he is the Bulls' best option at the end of the game, and this is coming from a Zach LaVine supporter and a guy that has defended Zach, who, again, I think Zach had a really good game tonight, but like in the fourth quarter he didn't score. Okay, and Zach needs to start figuring out in the fourth quarter, like, how is he gonna get points in the fourth. People have talked about him driving, and like this is the part that I don't understand about people, because they're always going to say like, well, he doesn't drive enough, he takes stupid shots, and I'm just like, look, he just needs to flat out just shoot shots. Like, there are too many shots, in my opinion, in the fourth quarter by him, or attempts by him down the stretch, and it just straight up, he's driving it and he loses the ball or gets fouled. And to me, that's the dumb decision. That to me is the dumb decision. It's not him shooting the 3-ball or taking a mid-range shot. Like, that's not dumb, but people think that's the dumb decision. To me, the dumb decision is the drive. But here's what it is. Okay, El Trapo, are you talking about the DeRozan shot? Because this is what we're discussing here. Okay, did you just join, El Trapo? Like, did you just join? Yeah, okay. So, I'll repeat this one more time, because I think that, I understand that, you know, people just joined, okay? I don't know, like, I know you've been here before, but I don't know how much you fully watch me, but my rule always has been, at the end of a game, okay, if it's a last second shot, you don't drive. You never drive to the basket. Don't do it, because what it does is that it puts the game in the officials' hands. If you get fouled at the end of a game and you're driving hard to the basket, the officials never call the foul. They just straight up don't. They will never call the foul, okay? And officials, they just straight up, they have known to just swallow their whistle when it comes to crunch time. You can drive hard and everything, but it will never ever, if you get hacked, you will never get the foul call, okay? And if you, like, I think even DeRozan said it in a quote, like, last season, like, someone asked him, like, should he have drove and try to get the foul call, and then they literally said, like, no, that puts the game in the officials' hands. Like, you don't want to ever do that, okay? And I'm saying the same thing. Like, I am willing to lose on a DeMar DeRozan missed mid-range shot, and you know, he just flat out missed it, knowing that I gave myself a chance to win that game, over me driving to the basket, going hard, trying to make the shot, I get hacked, no foul call, and I lose the game because the officials didn't call it. Okay, I'm willing to live by us missing the shot rather than us actually, like, flat out trying to get, you know, you actually got fouled and the officials just didn't call it. Like, I would much rather just try for us to control the game than let the officials do it. Okay, and to me, I'll break this down one more time. I don't have an issue with what happened here. I think that this was a perfectly fine drawn out play by Billy Donovan, and I think that DeRozan got a shot off at the right time. So look, not the best quality, but this is good job in my opinion by Billy. Okay, Vooch started here, Kobe started here. Okay, these two guys, they start moving the other ways to take their defenders out of the play. Zach started over here, so Grayson Allen's back is turned to DeRozan, so he cannot at any point come over and double team. All right, so that takes Grayson Allen out of the way. And Kevin Durant, if there was one person that they could have doubled off of, it would have been off Caruso, and KD just let this go. Okay, and you see here that at this moment in time, with 6.7 seconds left to go, DeMar DeRozan has all this space. Okay, this is all his territory right now, and I'm willing to live and die by this. If he gets a good shot off and just flat out misses it, then so be it. Okay, he creates a good amount of space against Keita Bates-Diop. he gets the shot off with about 4 seconds left remaining, okay? Which means that if he happens to miss it, that there's time for Kobe and Alex Caruso to come in for an offensive rebound opportunity and potentially put it back up and in, okay? He misses the shot. Unfortunately, it doesn't bounce the ball's way. And if you see here that if it actually bounced to Caruso, he still would have had 1.6 seconds left on the clock to go ahead and put a shot back up or call a timeout, right? But in the end, it just didn't bounce the ball's way. Like, I'm willing to lose this way, okay? I'm fine losing like this. It is what it is. It sucks. And if you want an example of why I'm not a person that says drive at the end of a game, okay? Let me show you this play. Sorry, hold on. I'm pulling up the play here. I know the bitrate on YouTube is not looking great recently, so I do apologize. But let's watch this, okay? So this is Game 4, Western Conference playoffs, okay? So we have LeBron James come in and get the rebound, calls timeout. All right. So the Lakers have a play here at the end of regulation. All right. So right here, look, what does he do? 3 seconds left to go on the clock. Right. Drives. Even the king, the people that argue is the GOAT. Okay. I think he gets fouled on this play. Like, straight up, I thought he got fouled on this play. And what happened? No call. Like, this is why I'm saying you don't drive. Okay, don't drive at the end of a game. It's not gonna work. Okay. And once again, I'm just gonna point out the defense here. Okay, I just want to point out the defense from the Nuggets in this possession. All right. So LeBron gets it, and he has the step. Like, he has the step on Aaron Gordon right now. But look at what Jamal Murray does, and look what Nikola Jokic does, okay? They are selling out. They're basically saying, you are not going to win on a layup tonight. We're basically going to force you to hit a shot in the perimeter. And that, to me, is a foul. That's also a foul. You don't get the call. You just straight up won't. And LeBron even had this problem against the Miami Heat the other day. Like, you don't drive at the end of a game because of this. You're not going to get the foul call. So you can disagree with me on this, but you can then what you can do is that you can go and like bring up the Steph Curry play where he just won the game against Oklahoma City Thunder, which had a bunch of controversy because they thought Draymond Green tapped it in. But yeah, he drove on that play. I still don't think it's the right play because if he got hacked and he missed the shot, I don't think he gets the foul call. But to me, it's pretty evident. Like, I would much rather just in that sort of scenario, if LeBron took a 16-footer and just lost the game on that, I live with that instead of what I saw there, right? I would not feel good as a Lakers fan knowing that the officials didn't call a foul there and LeBron ran into 3 guys at the end and there's no shot. He makes that shot, right? Yeah, but don't you think he could have stepped a few feet closer? Maybe. I mean, but I've talked about how I still think that it's important for the Bulls in this sort of scenario that the reason why you see DeRozan take the shot with like 4 seconds left to go, okay, is because you want a chance with offensive rebound, okay? This is what the Bulls do a lot, and a lot of teams actually do a lot in this sort of scenario, is that if you're going to take a shot with enough time left here that if you happen to miss it, then you still have a chance for offensive rebound, okay? So sure, he had a few extra seconds that he could have taken like maybe a step in or something, but it's a 19-foot shot with DeMar DeRozan taking it. Like, I don't really have an issue with this. And like I said, if the ball just happened to bounce better and Caruso gets this, like we're talking about 1.5 seconds left of with Caruso with the basketball in this scenario, and he still could have thrown up a shot here, right? So sure, DeRozan could have taken a few extra seconds, then and maybe got a little bit closer, but I still think this is correct. Yes, at this point, yes, at this point, he's older. I want others to have a chance. If DeMar can fail 1,000 times, so should other players besides that. No issue. Okay. I mean, sure. If you think that way, then yeah, I'm not going to change your opinion on that. I just still think that Zach has not shown enough, in my opinion, to be like a main ball handler in crunch time. Now, that does not mean I don't think he should be taking shots. I think one of the biggest issues with this team right now is that for guys like Zach, for example, like for example, let's take a similar guys to Zach, okay? In terms of their overall like game, and guys that do rely more on that catch and shoot type 3-point shot and slash. It's basically, we call it slash and splash, right? So Klay Thompson obviously comes to mind. I think Klay Thompson is overall pretty similar in terms of the overall game, but we know that Zach is a better ball handler, and he doesn't move around like Klay Thompson, right? And you can argue that Klay's a better shooter, but Zach's a better finisher. Okay, yeah, there's that. Another guy that I think comes to mind, but he handles the ball a lot more, is like Donovan Mitchell. Okay, but Mitchell has shown that he's better with the basketball overall, but he does turn over quite a bit, even though that he is the shooting guard. And the other person that sort of comes to mind is Brandon Ingram, but I still think Brandon Ingram relies a little bit too much on ISO compared to what Zach does, and he relies heavily in the mid-range shot, right? But then think of someone like Bradley Beal. Okay, now Beal has done a better job of recently, obviously, and as he grew older, of having better ball handling. But when he initially came into the league and was kind of like just started to blossom, he wasn't necessarily that great with the ball in his hands. So my point is, at the end of the day, that one of the things that this team is truly missing is to help Zach in crunch time. Okay, they don't have that dude to set him up, right? They don't have the dude that's going to come on over and basically set him up for an open 3-point look in the corner, right? Or they don't have the dude that's there that's going to be able to throw the ball to him and on a cut hard or on a pin down or something, right? And he's able to get a good overall line drive to the basket, or even just a little simple pin down just to get a mid-range like catch and shoot shot, right? There's no one really on this team that can really do that for Zach, right? And so Zach is then tasked to then handle the basketball and also then score. Now, we've seen it obviously with DeMar DeRozan, right? The thing is that DeMar DeRozan has his mid-range game, and when Zach doesn't necessarily always score from the mid-range, right? So DeRozan kind of doesn't have to always go to the rim, but Zach likes to get to the rim. That's where Zach's most comforting. So it's a hard like kind of balance right now, because it's not putting Zach in the best scenario. You're basically asking Zach to do more than what he should honestly be asked to do. So it does overall suck, but this is where I've said that I would like to see Zach like take that next step of being like, okay, if I'm not gonna be able to get catch and shoot 3-point shots in crunch time, or get cuts to the basket in crunch time, or simple pin downs in crunch time because the defense is so honed in on me, like that's tough, because like we said, like he is also an off-ball player, right? When you look at DeRozan, he's more of an on-ball player, okay? And this is in my opinion part of Zach's weakness, right? But if you're gonna ask me like, well, does he not deserve the max contract? I want you to go look at Jaylen Brown, who's making $300 million now, because Jaylen Brown has the exact same problems, okay? Jaylen Brown can't dribble with his left, right? And I think Jaylen Brown's left-hand dribble is much worse than Zach's, and I think he turns it over worse than Zach. But he's getting paid a ton of money because he can score the damn basketball. So what I think what Zach needs to then take the next step is, and I've talked about it, is if he's not gonna be, if his dribble for whatever reason in crunch time is not trustworthy, then he needs to figure out a way to not have to dribble the basketball and still score. And sorry about the ad. YouTube ads are killing me right now, but I do apologize. Oh shoot, hold on. So here's something that I think that the Bulls could potentially do for, like, in this case, like, to help Zach just be in a better scenario. Okay. Sorry, hold on. Wait. Oh, here we go. Got it. So, if when we do this, okay, like, this is something that I think Zach can start working on as well, just in general stuff, but and help him kind of conserve energy. But if, let's say, for example, you throw the ball down here to Zach, like, let's post up Zach, okay, and what, like, this is kind of what I would think about with Zach, is just if he's having trouble handling the basketball and he's always trying to get to the basket, okay, then what you should do is the next option for him is just post up, because then what he can do is either he doesn't have to even dribble to set his dude up. He can just straight up just blow right by him with one dribble, right, and get to the basket, or he's just able to just face up and just shoot the ball. Okay, this gets him simple just opportunities just to shoot right over dudes, right, without having to dribble the basketball. And I honestly I think this is fine. I understand that some people are like, well, that's too slow, it's hero ball, but, like, we saw Kevin Durant do this. Like, why shouldn't the Bulls do this? Okay, I understand KD's different, but if this is really going to become a problem for the Bulls, where DeRozan doesn't look 100% and is starting to decline, and we need Zach to actually start scoring the basketball, which I think he's really he needs to do, which, again, I think besides scoring, I think Zach did a lot of good things in crunch time tonight. Like, I think defensively he was very good, and I think in terms of setting up others, I thought he did a really good job. But he also needs to score, and this is something I think they can look into. The other thing that I think they can also look into is just you basically just run a 1-2 pick and roll. Okay, whoever is guarding Kobe, okay, he's probably smaller, right? So you just basically have Kobe come on over, come over, set screen, come off of this, okay, and oh, sorry, actually, flip this. What you would do instead is let's basically just, like, it's basically like a hawk set in a sense. So if you don't know a hawk set, you basically have guys. So this, again, number 2 is Zach, right? So you have guys come on down here and, like, set pin downs, and then Zach's gonna come over here and set a screen, and you have Kobe come off of it. Hopefully you get the switch. Okay, so pretend that this is Zach coming off some pin downs, right? He comes on over, and they run the 1-2 pick and roll, okay, and then ideally they switch. Okay, Kobe still has the basketball, sorry, and then you just have Zach come down here and post up. Hopefully it's a smaller dude, because then he can just rise up right over him, right? And that's simple for Zach, right? He can make the shot any day of the week, and he doesn't have to worry about dribbling, right? Something I would just personally look into. I don't know how realistic this is, because it looks like Billy Donovan doesn't want to run that. He doesn't even want to run that with DeRozan. Actually, it just seems like that he's just dead set on just running the pick and roll top the key with DeRozan at the end of the game. Oops, I hit my mic. So maybe this is not going to ever happen, but it's something I would at least consider if I was on the Bulls and trying to figure out ways to help Zach get easier shots here at the end. But other than that, I still think Zach had a good game, and I think a lot of people had a good game tonight. How to Greg Clay, and do we have power forwards? So, okay, last thing I think, honestly, I'm going to talk about tonight. Hold on, give me 1 second. I need to blow my nose. So Torrey Craig had some trouble. Torrey Craig unfortunately got into some foul trouble, or was committing too many fouls early on, because he was guarding Kevin Durant, which is, it's tough for him. He didn't have a really good game overall. He missed 2 open threes, unfortunately, but overall it was not the greatest game for Torrey Craig. Unfortunately, Patrick Williams was also not too great. This is something that I'm gonna go over the film with you guys here, and I'm gonna actually really dig into what Patrick Williams did tonight, and I'm going to show you something that I'm concerned with him, because it's getting to the point where I'm like really starting to notice it, and I'm more concerned as I continue to watch the season for him. Sorry. So, Pat went 1 for 7 tonight. Okay, now, you know, going 1 for 7 is not great, but I'm not really here to like judge that. Okay, I'm more here to judge how Pat missed a couple of shots that he needs to make. Okay, so this was his make. Okay, it was a step back 3 after he missed the 3. Okay, so let's just watch this. Let's just watch this, so I'm not like hating on it too much here. So this was, Pat missed a 3 earlier, and then he does a little step back 3 here over Kevin Durant, and he makes it. Okay, so that's good. So that's his one make of the night. Now, again, he missed a 3 earlier. I'm not going to show you that. All right. But let's move on. Okay. Actually, I'm not entirely sure what Pat did. There's this point. Yeah, so he didn't do anything in the second quarter. The third quarter is where I'm most concerned with it. So this was when it was basically Levine and Vucevic only scoring for the Bulls, which was a problem. Okay, so let's watch this. This was a pull-up jump shot from Pat. Okay, now Williams on offense. I don't like this shot whatsoever. This makes no sense to me. 17 seconds left in the shot clock. There's no reason to do something like this. Sorry again about the ad. So Pat, like, if you see KD going under the screen, oh sorry, highlighter. If you see KD going under the screen here, if you're Pat, just shoot the 3. Okay, like just use Vucevic as like a screener and just step back here and just shoot the 3. Okay, there is no reason for you to be taking this shot here, a 21-footer 2-point shot. That makes no sense whatsoever to take this. Okay, I don't want to see this shot ever again from Patrick Williams. I understand that he can make that shot, but that's inefficient offense. All right. Now this shot here, I don't mind this shot. This is fine in my opinion. He basically drove hard here. Okay, and he did a nice little move against KD. Yes, it's mid-range, but I've always talked about how, like, I don't want teams seeking I don't want the team to seek mid-range shots, right? I'm fine if you take them, but it's like if you take them after a drive and you try to get to the basket, but you weren't able to fully, and then you just take the mid-range, that's fine. And so in this sort of scenario, we see Pat here. He drives pretty hard against KD, and he isn't able to get baseline. He does this little shimmy move, right? And that to me is a fine shot. I'm cool with that shot by Pat, and we obviously know that he can make that shot. We've seen him make that. Okay. Now this is where I was like, okay, this is not good from Pat. So this happens here. It's a little messed up, but he gets the ball here against Yuta Watanabe. Okay, and he decides that I'm not going to take the screen from Andre Drummond. I'm just going to go baseline. And Yuta Watanabe, I'm just going to tell you right now, he's not the greatest defender. Okay, now I'm probably being a little disrespectful to him, but he's really not that great of a defender, and Pat straight up just loses the ball. Maybe there's like a wet spot here because Watanabe also slipped, so maybe I need to give him a little bit of grace here, but it honestly was looking like he was just going to lose the ball anyway, and he has to be better. Okay, so that happened, right? Now this here is the start of the fourth quarter, and I was very confused at what happened here from Pat. Okay, so right here, okay, he needs to figure out a way to get this shot up quick, because you see here Eubanks is coming, right? So you don't want to let Eubanks get a chance to block your shot here, but he takes that extra dribble, and that's what causes this block. Okay, right when you watch this, all right, Pat just needs to go up. Just truthfully, right here, like you're close enough to the basket, okay? And I think this is Wainwright. You're able to dunk over this dude or finish over this dude. He just needs to go up, okay? Don't take this extra dribble, because if you take the extra dribble, now you're allowing Eubanks to get back into the play. He gets rejected, okay? That to me is that's not what I want to see from Pat. Like, that has to be better from Pat. And unfortunately, we're at this point where we're concerned about this. And then this was the icing on the cake for me from Pat. So missed shot, he leaks out. I like this that he's out running, but This is another play that he has to convert. Like, straight up, he has to convert this play. And I don't know why finishing at the rim for Pat is such a problem. Right now for Patrick Williams, finishing at the rim seems like a big weakness in his game, like a major weakness. And he has to figure out how he's going to be able to finish through contact here. Like, truthfully, I think that's Wainwright. It could be Keita Bates-Diop. I'm not entirely sure. They should have no shot at blocking this, okay? Like, they blocked this shot. Now, if he went up, right, if he went up strong and it just so happened that he got hit or somehow he just missed it, okay, because Wainwright's coming, I can maybe live with that because he did attempt, like, a nice hard dunk here, but this has got to be better, man. Like, put your body into him. Make sure that he can't jump off and get a block off here. This just can't happen. Like, this should have easily been a 2-point basket on the fast break for the Bulls, and it ends up being a block shot. And maybe he needs to finish with the left here. Like, maybe that's what he needs to do. Okay. And if not that, like I said, you push into the dude, right? Make sure that he can't get up and block the shot, and you just do a reverse layup, right, under the basket. And I'm not talking like one of those acrobatic reverses. I'm just talking about you hit the dude so he isn't able to get a lift off, and then you just go to the other side of the rim and just lay it up and in. Like, it's not too hard, and it really seems like he just cannot finish right now at the rim. Because people nerves and confidence physically prevent him from finishing. He's so in his head. Maybe, right? But I've always the reason why I'm more concerned about this now, is because Pat has like never really even shown, right, to consistently finish at the rim. Like, what I'm talking is rookie season. I'm talking everything that we've seen from Patrick Williams so far this year, right? Like, and even last season when he played a good chunk of games, like, his finishing at the rim, his numbers are terrible in terms of layup percentage, and his dunks percentage is actually pretty poor for a dude that is 6'7". Like, it just cannot be this low for Patrick. So I don't know what it's really going to take for him. I think he just has to get maybe a little bit smarter about it, but this has to be better from Pat moving forward. To be able to pay for a contract, that's why he seeks those mid-range shots. Maybe. He looks like he doesn't even want the ball on offense. He hides from it. I would say that happens sometimes, but I wouldn't say that's the big thing. He's always trying to dunk with his right hand, and on an over grip, he always gets blocked too on that shot. Like, it's not necessarily he always gets blocked on that shot. It's that he doesn't like, I don't think he understands. Like, sometimes he just jumps too far away from the basket, right? And you know, that's a timing thing. But there are times when he does this sort of thing, right? He jumps up for this like right-handed tomahawk throwdown, and he'll just miss the dunk. Like, he'll just straight up miss the dunk. Like, it's not like the defense does anything. He just flat misses the dunk, and it's like, how are you missing that? And so that to me is kind of, it points to what you're saying, El Trapo. Like, he's probably afraid of contact, and so, like, if I see him go up for a dunk and he misses it, it's probably because he's thinking, I'm gonna get hit here, and he ended up just not getting hit and gets caught in the middle and just flat misses it. Like, I don't know what it is with Pat. So once again, I want to point this out because I think a lot of people are gonna be like, well, see, Billy screwed Pat over. Okay, look, what a coach cannot do, okay, a coach cannot give a player confidence. Okay, there is nothing that a coach can do that can set up a player to give him more confidence. It is not possible. All right, a coach can put players, you know, try to put them in better situations, but it's still not gonna give them confidence. Okay,
Toxic therapy from your vape.
it may be a better overall area for them to succeed, okay, or like just better odds overall, okay, but it's not like that's giving them any sort of confidence. Okay, a coach can, though, take away confidence. I do agree that a coach can take away confidence from a player, and maybe that's what happened with Pat. But at the same time, like, Billy has played Pat in the starting lineup. He's played him in some big minutes. Like, I don't know what else Billy can honestly do at this point for Pat. We're talking about simple stuff here in terms of an NBA player. We're talking about finishing. We're talking about offensive rebounding, attacking the glass, and finding where the defense doesn't play and filling the gaps. Like, that isn't something that I don't think that should be on Billy's shoulders to teach that to Patrick Williams, okay? This is something that Patrick Williams needs to do himself and figure out himself. And we just haven't seen it from him yet. And now we're in year 4, and I'm seeing stuff like this where he's just straight up, he's not coordinated, right? And it doesn't seem like he understands how to finish over guys. Like, now we're approaching like very bad territory now for Patrick Williams, and I did not want to ever see this part of, or see this point, because I have been a Patrick Williams believer, but now we're just like, man, this is getting to like a bad part, and I hope this doesn't continue for him. I say, love your channel, brother. Please never stop. Good things will come. I appreciate it, Delbert. Appreciate the support, you guys. Tough loss tonight, but I appreciate y'all being here and discussing this. Tomahawk throwdown, as he's always messing up. Yeah. I apologize about my nose, guys. I don't know why it's having. I'm just stuffed up. Wasn't Pat campaigning for a 3 spot instead of the power forward? So people have talked about this. I don't think Pat has ever like campaigned for it. Okay. When he was first drafted, he was playing the 3, yeah, but like, to me, it doesn't even matter at the end of the day. Like, it's still just forward. Like, whether you're playing the 3 or the 4, you're still just playing forward. You're going to be playing against similar sized players, and with the way that this roster is constructed, like, he has to play the 4 straight up. And look, I understand that people are like, well, if he's better at the play him the 3. If Patrick Williams cannot play the 4, or like the hybrid forward in a sense, right? Then how can he ever be an NBA player? Like, how can he ever be a consistent NBA starter? Because we see all the time just straight up, positionless lineups, and that might have Patrick Williams guarding a bigger dude, right? Always been looking better. Coaches can take away confidence, brother. I agree with that, and I still feel like it's going to be a great season. I mean, I will say this, Delbert. So if the Bulls right now, so this is their 9th game, okay? If the Bulls were 4-5, I'd feel pretty okay right now, but they're 3-6, which doesn't make me feel too good. So again, I said 46 wins for the season. It's not looking like that's going to happen, at least right now. We'll see how the Bulls do in this next kind of stretch here, because they're going to be facing the Orlando Magic twice, the Miami Heat, right? And these are winnable games, right? So, I do think that's where maybe the Bulls can turn some things around here. But the Bulls should have won against the Brooklyn Nets for sure, and they should have won against the Pistons, in my opinion. At least you should have gotten one of those games. Like, maybe you don't win the other, but you should have won at least one of those games. And I can accept the loss to Dallas, because Dallas, I think, is a good team still. But that loss to Detroit is not going to lead to anything good for this Bulls team. So, it is concerning to me that we're 3-6 instead of 4-5. Like, I do think that's a big difference right now. I think this is obviously a huge loss tonight, because it could have made up for that loss to the Pistons. Because I don't think the Bulls should, like, coming into this game, I was in my head, like, before the season started, I'm like, I don't think the Bulls are going to win this game, right? Because I expected everyone to be healthy for the Phoenix Suns, and if everyone's healthy, then the Bulls aren't winning this game. But this would have been a nice makeup for that Pistons loss or that Nets loss, and they didn't get it tonight. And it's unfortunate, because I thought the Bulls played pretty well. So, yeah, I'm hoping things turn around here, or else we're going to have a completely different team by the trade deadline, in my opinion. He's definitely quiet quitting. Well, he definitely wants to play the 3. I mean, El Trapo, I don't think we can make that sort of, like, excuse me. I don't think we can make that sort of like statement or assumption about any sort of these players. Like, there was an article posted by, I think it was Bulls Kick Ass or something, that was saying that Levine is quiet quitting, and I also thought that was just a stupid article, because, like, yeah, Levine wasn't playing well, okay, but if he was flat out quiet quitting, then he wouldn't be out there when he was having back spasms, okay. Like, he could easily just be like, I'm not going to play tonight because I have back spasms. Like, if Levine was actually quiet quitting, then he just would not be on the court, right? And he'd be like, oh, no, I have back issues, okay? With Pat, I'm not going to say that he's quiet quitting either. Like, I think that's like a crazy assumption to make, unless like there is like big physical evidence that like you can see like players just straight up just not giving a damn and they're not playing, right? If Patrick Williams was like saying I'm not going to play, then yeah. Asking a tough real question about Pat, I like it. I mean, I think, look, man, I have been a person with Patrick Williams that I was like, I'm not here to like, or at least in my past, I wasn't that person that was like really starting to like to go after him, saying like, why aren't you like scoring more, and you're a 4th overall pick and not living up to expectations, right? It's gotten to the point now with Pat that like I'm seeing stuff that even role players are good at, right? Like, Pat's not gonna be here scoring 20 a night, like he just never will be, okay? But this is the stuff now that I'm starting to see where he's not giving enough effort on the offensive glass. He's not cutting in the correct spots or at the correct times because he doesn't understand when to cut. And now he's not finishing at the rim at even his bad like below average rate he did last season, okay? He's finishing worse at the rim right now. Like, that to me is when now I'm starting to ask the big questions of like, why can't you improve? Why are you actually regressing? And why is it now that you're in the 4th year of your NBA career and you honestly look like you're worse right now than what you did when you came out of college? Like, I'm really starting to ask that question, and I'm also starting to question maybe what Billy is sort of doing. Like I said, Billy can take away confidence from Pat, but at the same time, I've been making the argument like I don't think Billy can do anything else. Like, I honestly think a lot of this is just straight up on Pat, and he just has to do better as a player and understand the game better and look at film better. Like, it's all on him. I also thought he was quiet quitting when he got the max. I legit thought he wanted to be traded to the Lakers. I mean, quiet quitting when he got the max contract? Are you talking about Zach? I find that a bold statement because Levine came into last season. Like, last season was his first year in the max deal, right? Levine came into last season, he was not fully healthy. Like, it was straight up clear that Levine last season, because he had the arthroscopic surgery, that he was not fully healthy. Okay. I think by February, DeMar and Caruso getting traded. I think that's a legit possibility. I do. And then if DeMar and Caruso getting traded, then Zach's getting traded too. I won't be shocked by that whatsoever. But at the same time, this front office has been hell-bent on continuing to play winning basketball or trying to be competitive. So I honestly, I don't know what's going to happen come trade deadline. If the Bulls suck, I'm like, you still think that Zach is like, or sorry, you still think that the Bulls, even if they suck, right? That they're, even at the trade deadline, you don't really know what they're going to do, right? I would not be shocked if the front office just decides just to not trade anybody. Like, I would not be shocked at it because it is this front office, and they've locked in Billy Donovan for a longer contract. They've locked in AK for a longer contract. Like, I would not be shocked. So, I won't be shocked if come trade deadline if the Bulls are somehow like 10 games under 500 and it's like, okay, trade these guys away, and they just don't. I would not be shocked by it. I personally won't. So who knows? I honestly don't know what's gonna happen. But I do think that trading Levine, DeRozan, and Caruso at the trade deadline is more likely now than it probably was at the start of the season. Sure. Well, Zach is 28. Zach could be the anchor. Caruso / DeMar in the last year of the deal, right? So DeMar DeRozan's on the last year of his deal, yes. Alex Caruso is not. Alex Caruso has one more year after this season. DeMar and Caruso can get more money on another team. Okay, so you're definitely right about that, El Trapo, that if they're gonna actually trade somebody, it would be DeMar DeRozan because he he is not locked in, and it seems like they can't come to terms on a contract. So that's probably pretty likely. If the Bulls obviously suck, right? And yeah, you're right that DeMar can go off in free agency. Now, here's the thing: you say that DeMar can get more money in free agency. I don't know if he can, because his game, I've talked about it a lot. His game overall, right? His game is not, it's not built for modern day NBA, and I'm not shocked that other teams really didn't go after him too much when the Bulls went after him. Okay, so I truly do not know if DeMar actually gets more money than what the Bulls would actually be offering in free agency. Now, you're right about Caruso 1000%, but Caruso's still under contract for next season, so the Bulls won't have to worry about it. Quick look at this. Okay, so this is DeMar's contract this season. Okay, now we're talking about next season, right? So next season, obviously, DeMar comes off the books. You see Caruso is still here. It's not guaranteed, but if he makes the opening day roster, it's fully guaranteed. So we don't have to worry about that. Caruso's going to be here. You see that DeMar DeRozan is a free agent. So, yeah, that's probably more likely to get traded. Yeah. Why trade Zach? I just think that, like, if you're gonna be like, I'm with you that, like, I don't think you need to trade Zach. Like, I've been on that road, right, of like, okay, if the Bulls are like, all right, we suck too much, we're gonna trade DeRozan, we're gonna trade Caruso, hopefully trade Vooch. I don't know who's taking Vooch. I don't think there's any value for Vooch right now. Then they just trade Zach too, because it's like, if we're actually gonna be trying to really like rebuild this team, Zach's the most valuable asset. So you have to get the most assets back to rebuild your team, and you can't do that without trading Zach, right? But personally, I think that a retool is possible. I know a lot of people disagree with me on that, but I've talked about it. Like, what you can do, okay, now I don't know what's gonna happen with Patrick Williams. Like, I straight up don't, okay? But basically, with currently, if let's say for next season the Bulls don't bring back anybody, right? They don't bring back a single player from what we're looking at here, okay? The Bulls have $17 million in cap space. Then what you would do is that you would stretch and waive Lonzo Ball's contract, so that you spread it out for 3 years, and then this number goes up to now, like, it's now up to like $29 million, okay? Because I think you get about, at least if my math's correct, you get about $12 million from Lonzo Ball's contract if you stretch and waive it. So you'd have some extra money. Now, this is assuming you don't re-sign Pat, okay? And, you know, you traded DeRozan, or you just let DeRozan go, right? You don't bring back Drummond, then suddenly you have money to play with. And then if you want to make some other moves, like maybe trading Vooch, like, hey, then that opens up another $20 million, or you trade Vooch for something else, right? And the Bulls would only be down one pick at that point, because the only pick that's going out then is the trade in with the San Antonio Spurs, which is the 2025 picks going to the Spurs. Okay, so the Bulls only down one pick, then you suddenly have assets to play with. You're getting a rookie coming in, because you're going to have your draft pick for this upcoming season. Okay, and ideally you'll get assets back for the DeRozan trade if you trade them, right? I think it's very possible, but I also am aware that it's probably not going to look too great. And if Lonzo Ball can come back healthy, that's even better. Then you have your starting point guard in your backcourt now with LaVine. But I don't trust that, so that's not my plan. But yeah, that's at least what I was thinking. But I also understand why people think that's a terrible idea. Because, yeah, Zach's not a number one. I agree with that. Zach's not a number one. But I do think that the Bulls could potentially be then in play for a number one. And that might even include trading Zach to get the number one. Like, I think that's something I don't think people understand. Like, I would like Zach to be here for the long run, and we try to win with him. But, like, let's say the Bulls decide, okay, we're gonna trade DeRozan, we're gonna trade Vooch, we're gonna keep Zach around for now. But then, let's say suddenly, who knows who comes available. Let's say Joel Embiid randomly just becomes available on the market, right? Like, I'd be willing to trade Zach LaVine for Joel Embiid. Like, I straight up would. Now, I think Embiid would want to come to Chicago to play with Zach for sure, but I'd be willing to do that deal. And I think that's something that people don't fully look at with Zach, because they always just think, okay, just get assets back, because you're not going to get like a star player in return. But if the Bulls have assets plus Zach, right, they can go after and make that big deal. Yeah, the marketing trade for sure. I think the Bulls going to lowball him. I think they might offer him $50 million a year, and some other team might pay him in the 20. No, I think what's happening right now is that the Bulls are offering DeMar DeRozan pretty much a similar contract that he's getting now. Okay, And I think they're basically offering him like 30 million a year right now, but DeMar wants the max, and he's not going to get it. Ball's on the books next year. Goddamn, trade that man already. No one's taking this contract. I'm telling you right now, nobody's taking this contract unless the Bulls attach a pick to it, which makes no sense in my opinion to do. Like, I'm being genuine that like just stretch and waive Lonzo next season. If Lonzo Ball is not healthy next season, stretch and waive him, because it's going to open up money for the books for next season, right? For the Bulls to kind of play around with, and then you'll still be on the books for this season, but then the Bulls have a ton of cap space to work with. Like, it won't be that big of an issue. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for Lonzo. Don't understand if it's number one for Zach. For Zach, the best they can get is a couple of good role players and some drafts. I disagree with that. I think for Zach, you're gonna get a decent young player and then a salary filler and then some draft picks. I think that's what you're gonna get for Zach.
Toxic therapy from your vape.
I can't sleep.
All right. Sorry about my nose. I don't know what's going on tonight. And I apologize about the ads. Oh my god, bro. YouTube changed their whole ad policy, or like their ad block policy, and it's making me really upset. And I'm honestly thinking of like downloading songs that I usually play and just putting them on like a playlist or something on my computer, so I can just play that and not have to even worry about the ads on YouTube. Spotify, unfortunately, does not. I don't have that, so. Lonzo Ball situation is anchor around the neck, takes some money on spot. Oh, please, yeah. The Lonzo Ball situation extremely sucks. Like, obviously, we love for him to be here, but because he's not here and he is taking up that money, the Bulls are just like, there's nothing that they can honestly do besides going into the tax, which they should have. Okay, they should have gone into the tax anyway, but they didn't. And to help improve this roster, which it's unfortunate that they didn't do that, but yeah. It's really unfortunate that the Lonzo situation happened. I do think that it makes the Bulls' outlook a little bit better, right? Like, even let's say Lonzo was playing, I don't think that this team is a good team, but like they're not a top 4 team. Okay, I still think that they're still kind of fighting for like the 5th, 6th spot, but they're probably in a better spot overall, and they don't have like a floor being like the 11th seed. But it would at least make the team look a little bit better, because Lonzo's obviously there, and you have more 3-point shooting, you have more defense, and it honestly kind of looks like you kind of have like a starting core to kind of work with moving forward if you decide to move on from DeRozan and Vooch, which the Bulls, who knows what they're going to do with that. The Bulls are playing with the handicap essentially because of the cap space. In some ways, yes. So, like I said, next season, if they decide to bring back nobody, like this would include not bringing back Patrick Williams, okay, they would have some money to work with, and that includes stretching and waiving Lonzo. The only reason why I was so upset about the Vucevic deal is because of this thing. Like let's say the Bulls actually decide to give the qualifying offer to Pat, okay, and decide to bring him back. The thing is that then you still have money to work with, because Pat would not be wouldn't take up all the cap space, and you still have an extra $20 million to work with. Even if Pat re-signed for like $20 million per year, which that doesn't look like it's ever going to happen now at this point, because how poor he's playing. But that's kind of like what I was thinking about. But because Vooch re-signed, that's not possible. So like ideally you move him off. I honestly don't know where this team goes. And yes, the Lonzo Ball situation is still it hurts the Bulls still. For this season specifically, though, it really hurt the Bulls because the Bulls are basically at the tax line. See, like they're basically $1 million away from the tax, and they should have went into the tax. Like they 100% should have, because they still have $6 million remaining in the mid-level exception. They still have the biannual exception to use, and they still have Lonzo Ball's disabled player exception to use. Okay. Which is in total, if you add this up, is $20 million. Now it can't be allocated into one player, but it's still players you can go out and get and the Bulls didn't do that. So it's really frustrating that they didn't do that. That would have been their way of working around the Lonzo Ball injury, but they decided not to do that. So they're handicapped at the tax because Jerry Reinsdorf, and here we are. We're still stuck in kind of no man's land, right? What's going on, Taro?
Engineered like a song.
I apologize with the ads, bro. I do apologize about this. I don't like ads playing in my background, but all right. It is almost midnight here, so I'm gonna be ending stream soon here, but I'm not gonna end it just yet. Okay. Let's do a little fun thing. Let's see. Let's do the Pirtle, okay? Let's do the Pirtle on stream together, and then I might do one more thing, but after, I think after this though, I'm gonna call it a night, and then discuss the Bulls' next game, which I think is not until Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the Bulls don't play. The Bulls have some days off, and we play the Pistons again. So we'll see how that one goes. But let's play the Pirtle here, and then let's talk about the Pistons game, and then we're gonna call it a night. All right. So here's the Pirtle. All right, just random player that just kind of came to mind, just because it's him. Let's go with Bruce Brown. All right, so Eastern Conference, less than 27 years old. They are a guard or a forward. Okay, cool. They're taller than 6'4", and their number is bigger than 11. They're not in the Central Division though, so let's think. They're not in the Central Division, so that eliminates all those teams. Let's go then with. Excuse me, sorry. Random name that just came to mind is Gary Harris. Okay, so it is not in this division. That's Southeast, right? I always forget how this works. Sorry, hold on. Okay, so that's Southeast, so it's in the Atlantic Division, so we're looking at this division now. Sorry, hold on. Changing music. And let's see. So this is a bad guess. I thought Gary Harris was younger for some. Okay. Let's look at this. Division. So it's not Southeast, it's not Central, so it's in this division here. Okay. Next player that just randomly came to mind. I think this would work out. Because I think he is taller, but is Quentin Grimes. Here. Okay, so he is on the New York Knicks. He is older than 23 years old. He is taller than 6'5". Okay, he does not play guard, so I guess it's a forward then. So in between the ages 27 and 23. Okay. And obviously a higher number than 14. Oh, it's 6'5" though? Not Josh Hart. Let's see here. So Quentin Grimes was born in 2000, so he's older than 2000. Sorry. So we're looking at like 24 to 27 here, and bigger number than 14. So not Evan Fournier. So it could be. It'd be Charlie Brown Jr. unfortunately, so I seriously doubt it's him, but we'll see. Still Dylan Windler, because I think that would be the next best guess here. Dylan Windler. Okay, so it's not him. Oh yeah, he's 27. Crap. So it's a I don't. I'm pretty sure this means that it's forward then. He's taller than 6'7", and his number's higher than 20, so that helps. What? Sorry, I'm having trouble with this one. I mean, is it just Isaiah Hartenstein then? I haven't driven in traffic like on the highway today in a while. I'm coming from Naperville. That was stressful. I've seen the pro game once or twice before. It looks fun. Yeah, it's fun. I know that drive specifically from Naperville, so I hope you're doing okay, Taro. That's a rough drive, especially on a busy night. So hopefully things went well. Or if you're still driving, then be safe. Sorry, ads. I'm changing this. Sorry, hold on. Okay, there we go. Okay, sorry. Dylan Windler's 1996. Okay, so it's either Jericho Sims or it's Isaiah Hartenstein. It's either one of these two. And I'm gonna go with Hartenstein because I think that. Oh, crap! I just closed out of it. Oh, it worked. Okay, great. I think he's considered a forward still. Nope, it's Jericho Sims. Great. Wait, it's not. What? Bro. Am I just dumb? Oh my god. Is it really Mitchell Robinson? It's Mitchell Robinson. Oh my god, bro. That's so annoying. I thought because it said 20, like the number 20 is like not close. It was like a much higher number than Mitchell Robinson, but I guess it could have been Mitchell Robinson. Oh my god, bro. That's so. Alright, I got 7 guesses. That's not great. So tired of a good game. I saw Nurkic had those looks on the roll tonight, and he finally took the opportunity to score when he needed. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't actually think that was bad defense by DeRozan, honestly. I think that yeah, he scored the biggest bucket, obviously, but yeah, he finally took advantage. But other than that, I thought the Bulls' defense was like, even then, I thought the defense was pretty good by the Bulls. All right, hold on. Okay, I want to do this now. Let's do the hoop grids. All right, let's see here. You want to get the best rarity score possible, right? Like you don't want to just guess like the obvious answers here. So we need to try to do harder answers. If you play this, don't give me any answers. I just want to do this by myself here. If you have not played it, you can help me out. But kind of think of just players excuse me that fulfill these conditions, obviously. Okay, let's see here. Clippers Pacers. That's a tough one to start out on. Okay, a name came to mind for this. I know this for sure. I'm gonna have to come back to this one. This is tough. All right, Pacers, T-Wolves. Okay, I can definitely think of somebody that was on Pacers. I'm not entirely sure, but okay, I got Chase Buttinger. Okay, so Detroit and LA. The obvious name is Reggie Jackson. The people around me kept mentioning how P.O. wants 200 mil. Okay, bro, look, that's not the correct quote. Like that's a bad quote. He doesn't want 200 mil. Okay, the quote was that he wants more than 20 mil per year. Like that's what Zach Lowe said, but that's I hate the fact that it's always gonna be like 200 mil. He wants 200 mil. I think that's so stupid. But you know, people are gonna be like that. How does this game work? Clippers and Pacers can't be Paul George. Okay, so you have the right idea, Taro. Like that's the exact right idea. So it's like it's a player that played for the Pacers and the Clippers, right? The idea though is that you want to like guess players that are like not as common, right? Because like I could obviously just put Paul George right here, but what's a player that is not as commonly known that played for both the Pacers and the Clippers, right? You want to have the best rarity score, which is the lowest rarity score possible. That's like that's the goal of the game. You know, putting Paul George here, it's correct, but you don't want to do that. Like you want to try to guess like very hard players that people may not really know. So, for example, like Darren Collison is not very known for playing both for the Kings and the Pacers. I think some of us obviously know that, right? But it's not very common for people to just like, oh yeah, I knew that. Sorry, my nose is acting up tonight. After this, we'll call it a stream. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me tonight. I can't think of anything for this. Like I'm you know, Paul George is pretty obvious, but I'm like rolling back into like previous Clippers teams, and nothing really comes to mind right now. It's making me upset here. So, I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put Reggie Jackson here because I really can't think of anything else right now. Pistons and Timberwolves. Okay, this might be ridiculous, but I think this is correct, and I have unlimited guesses. But okay, Greg Monroe did play that for both teams. Pistons and Kings. The obvious person is Marvin Bagley. I'm trying to think of someone else though. Sorry, I'm like really thinking back to like the Kings from like 2013 days, you know. because I have unlimited guesses, I don't think this is correct, but I'm just gonna put it in. No, okay, Jakarta Sampson did not play for the Kings. Okay. We're unfortunately gonna have to do the simple one. That screws over this so bad. All right, so then play less than 10 games in a season. This is gonna be ridiculously, like, this is so tough. Like, okay, I'm just throwing out names here. Like, I don't think. Oh yeah, JJ Barea is just out. Did Kevin Garnett when he came back to team? Okay, so there's that. For the Clippers, I guess Kawhi Leonard counts. Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to do this of like just guessing like the obvious names, but I'm just gonna have to end it here. Kings, who did not play with that many games for the. I don't know how many games Jimmy Fredette played. Okay, I'm glad that counted. All right, now Clippers and Pacers. I'm glad I got this. I'm proud of it.
Quitting nicotine is hard.
Oh.
I want to talk to you about what Truth is doing with their This Is Quitting texting program.
Can't think of anyone besides Baggy, like you said. Yeah, I honestly don't know who else would fit into that Kings and Pistons category. I'm sure there's probably various. There are many other answers, but I'm just blanking right now. The one person that just randomly came to mind. Oh wait, actually, hold on a second now. No, okay, we're just gonna go with this guy, but Danny Granger. I remember that one. And then you get the score at the bottom, Taro. You see here, it says your score is better than 60.87% of the grades. Like, you want this obviously, you know, the top, like the highest possible. But yeah, this is how it kind of works out. I'm glad I got Danny Granger and Jimmer Fredette. These are two guys that I was like, sorry, I wasn't sure about Jimmer Fredette. I knew about Danny Granger, but it took me a while to get to him. But I'm happy about getting Jimmer Fredette. That's a really good one. That's obviously the best one I got out of all of these. For this, I should have probably put like Amir Coffee or something, if that's even possible. If you actually count it. All right, that's it though. That's it for the games tonight. All right. So, Bulls, obviously, they lost to the Suns tonight. Tough loss. I honestly feel like the Bulls deserved to win that one. It's unfortunate that they just didn't. And honestly, I don't really think there's like too much to be like upset about that one. It just comes down to basketball things at the end, and you're going to lose games like this sometimes. Bulls do not play again until Sunday, so November 12th here. So, catch up on some of the rest of the NBA, which I'm going to do. Bulls could take on the Pistons. They're now 2-7. Bulls obviously lost to the Pistons last time in Detroit, so hopefully the Bulls can just get this win. Then you can be 4-6, and not have to be starting to worry about suddenly then you're 4 games under 500 if you lose this game. So I would just like the Bulls just to go out and just take care of business. It's not an easy game, but they should win this one now, especially that they're home. So hopefully the Bulls go out and do that. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me tonight. I know it's late. It's now midnight, so I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me. If you have not already, hit the like button. The stream helps me out a ton. If you're new to the channel, like Bulls content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll see y'all on Sunday. It's going to be a little bit from here on out, but I'll see y'all on Sunday. All right? The Bulls lost tonight. Hopefully the Bulls get the win against the Pistons on Sunday. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.